Hey y'all, thanks for dropping by today. Happy Friday. I need to make sure that YouTube is actually live. I think it is. Yep, there we are. So, hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Beth, and I am wrapping up my 7-day cruise on Holland America Line. We were on the Zandam ship this time. This is my second cruise with Holland America. Hey Bree, how are you? Thanks for dropping by. So y'all, the purpose of this video is just to wrap up the series. I was going to record it, but quite honestly, I'm kind of maxed out on recording right now and editing. So I thought I would go live. I have gotten several emails and some great questions in the, I know, right, Bree? Questions in the comments of the videos. And what I tried to do was just put all of these together. So if this is your first time here, because you came because you wanted to hear about the cruise, we are going to talk about the cruise. Normally on my channel, we talk about thrifting. I'm a reseller. I'm an avid thrifter. I'm a vintage curator, small business owner, along with some other things. But I do deal in vintage and antiques. Started out with furniture, and now we are into the hard goods, some linens, ephemera, things of that nature. So if you are here and don't know anything about that, it's okay. We're not going to talk about that. We are going to talk about the cruise. We're going to wind up the cruise. Also, if you're trying to chat and you cannot chat, it's because for the safety of my viewers and myself, I have the subscribers only mode on. That kind of gets rid of the automated bots or just mean people who want to say mean things, and we don't do that here. So a lot of the YouTubers will put on a subscriber mode, and that's just a layer of protection for those watching, those communicating in the chat, and myself again. And if you want to communicate, if you want to ask a question, if you want to leave a comment while we are live today, you will need to hit that subscribe button and wait just a few minutes, and then you'll be able to chat. Otherwise, if you are watching this as a replay, thank you so much for coming and watching. The Holland America line, we've just been thrilled. Now, I can't say that I'm an avid and a frequent cruiser because I'm not. I'd only taken one other cruise, and I believe that was a Carnival cruise, and I was like 10. And I got that one just by happenstance. Hey, Dolo. My girlfriend was getting her hair did. So I'm going to just kind of go through. I actually made notes because, like I said, I did have some people emailing me with some questions, Instagram messaging me, and the white right here, that is my Instagram at Sweet Treats and Pretties. My business name is Carolina Princess Sweet Treats and Pretties. So any of the videos will have my contact information from email, and then of course you can always send a Instagram message if you are watching this back later and preparing to go on your cruise. Hey, Miss Nancy, thank you for being here today. That was sweet of you. So I sailed Holland America for the first time last year. It was July of 2022, and we went to Alaska. This time and that was on the Nordam ship. This time we did New England and Canada, and we were on the Zandam ship. Now, those are two different cruise ships. And I'll just tell you right now, please excuse me if I interchange boat and ship. I'm not an avid cruiser, so I know the difference vernacularly speaking, but they're both all boats to me. So I'm just pretty simple like that. But one is a Pinnacle ship, and I believe that Nordam is a Pinnacle ship. It is a newer, bigger, more modern ship. The Zandam, from my understanding, is an older, one of their original ships, much smaller, holds smaller people. If you saw my video of the cabin tour, you saw that I kind of focused in on that great MCM tile in the bathroom. I actually loved it as someone that does vintage and antiques. So I thought it was really cool. It didn't bother me at all. But Holland America in general, y'all, I don't just say this because Lovey's daughter's company contracts with them. It's my personal experiences. Now, because my partner's daughter, she gets to work for a dance company in New York. She is a professional dancer, and she works for a company in New York. That company is contracted by Holland America to provide entertainment from bands, comedians, the dance entertainment. And she is given contracts to go on different ships for a different amount of time. Her first contract was last year for 7 months, doing the same rotation in Alaska. And if we wanted to see her, then we had to get on board. I know, really sad reason to have to cruise, right? But it gave us an opportunity to see her perform her art. And she is an artist. If you've seen any of the videos in the playlist, and that playlist is linked below, you will see me from packing and trying to decide what to take and us failing miserably to only get in one suitcase, all the way to each port. You get a cabin tour, you get a complete ship tour, you see the food. That's mainly what people want to see. Let's be honest, they want to see the food. And I did sneak in some entertainment. Now, they tell you not to record or whatever during there, but we figure it's our kid, we can do what we want. So we get to do that. So if you're in the chats, thank you so much for being here and for supporting me. I see Bree and Dolores and Miss Nancy. Those are some of my vintage loving friends, but they've also been following my cruises as well. Now, when you are with Holland America, I will say that, yes, there is a friends and families program that sometimes you're eligible for, sometimes not. But in general, if I were booking without that, I would say that it is a very economically friendly cruise line. And the reason I say that is based on the accommodations, all the activities on board, all of the food, the ports. It's just top notch. Now, I will say that Holland America is considered a more mature sailing line. They do have a children's area. It's called the Howe Club, and they are jam-packed with all kinds of things, but it is very small in comparison to your ships like Disney or Carnival or anything else. I believe that this is, my dad could correct me. I don't know if he's watching, but I believe that this is a Carnival line. He'll have to tell me. He's the cruiser. But they are very, very, I think, economically friendly when you are booking a cruise, and you're looking at doing 7 days for what you would consider hotel stay, 3 meals a day, plus snacks, plus entertainment and all that. Very, very, thank you, Bree. Bree says yes. Very, very economically friendly. I don't think we could go and stay in a resort and have all of our 3 meals, snacks, 24/7, room service, the whole 9 yards, with all of the entertainment for the price, and get to port and go and see all of the different places that we went for the same amount of money. That's just my personal opinion, as is all of this that I'm going to say today. These are my experiences and my experiences only, whether it be with the travel there, travel home, the cruise line, the ports, whatever. And again, I'm not a professional cruiser. Doesn't seem like a bad job, but somebody's got to do it, I guess. I will say that once you book your cruise, and they make it very friendly, user friendly on the computer to do so, but they are also easily available by telephone. Once you book, you're going to get periodic emails that says, "Hey, Norma Jean, you're going to get periodic emails that say you're cruising, you're embarking on in so many days, 100 and something days, 80 days, 60 days, 50 days, 10 days. And it will tell you kind of to keep you in line, say, okay, make sure you've got this done, make sure you get this done. It also connects you to make sure that if you need a passport, still, whether you would need COVID verifications. Now, when we went to Alaska, COVID was still very, very prevalent. And you had to have vaccination proof, and you had to carry that with you. You also had to wear a mask while on board. This time we did not. Those restrictions had been lifted. But because in both instances we ended up in Canada, you also have to know what their health regulations are as well. And Holland America walks you through all that, as I'm sure any cruise line does. But y'all, I can only speak for our time on Holland America. It also helps you. They are very, very good about lots of clear communication. Like, I get really nervous if I don't know exactly, and they will tell you exactly. When you disembark and you're disembarking into Canada, there's a form that you fill out, or you let them know. They're like, hey, you have to have it in by this amount of time, which is several days before you disembark. I think they gave it to us like our second day, but that's just to make sure that they have all of their ducks in a row. They do have their cruise directors, which I've met both Jeremy. Oh gosh, and now I can't remember the guy that was just on this ship, but he was amazing. You got to see him speak, and he was doing a lot of the tours. It's going to come to me in a second. Oh, I can't remember his name. Anyway, a very, very nice gentleman. All of the people on Holland America, they were happy to work there. They were happy that you were there. And I know that's their job, but I have a job too, and I'm happy there sometimes. It just depends on my mood, but we never have run into a cranky or ill-tempered Holland America employee. Now, this time it was much different also because when we did Alaska, we got a veranda room, which means we opened the door from the living space and walked out onto a private balcony. That was amazing. This ship did have veranda rooms. They were a little bit different. And so we did not, based on the information that we got ahead of time, which was that they were on the walking track, like you would walk out and there would be the walking track. It didn't make sense to me, but I just went with it. We did not get one. We got an ocean view. And while we did not have a balcony, and I'm going to tell you, if you go to Alaska, spring for the veranda, because you will not be sorry. And I don't know if I would have needed a veranda for this particular cruise, because honestly, this was a very, very busy cruise. We had 7 days on board. We did Boston, the next day Bar Harbor, the next day Halifax, Nova Scotia, the next day Sydney, Nova Scotia. We had one cruising day. Then we were in Quebec City and we disembarked in Montreal. So y'all, we were moving. There was always so much to do. Now, I think we had 2, maybe 3 days in Alaska. And I really enjoy a sea day. Zero pressure to get up, get dressed, and get off that boat. So that's one of the differences. But the room was I thought it was really small at first, but honestly, it's not. There was enough room for both of us to kind of pass each other, get dressed. It would be the same as, in our master suite here. So the reason that I did these videos, that was one of the questions that I got. How come you went from thrifting and vintage to doing the videos? And I said, well, it's twofold. One, when I was researching, and I'm one of those people that if I'm going somewhere, I'm going to have looked up everything. What are the highlights? What do I need to know? And I have an itinerary. I'm just that way. So that was one. And I didn't find that much about the Alaska one or this one. There are a few videos. They're very, very short. They might not have any commentary, and I want to hear what they were thinking. So that was one reason, is because I didn't find any information, and I thought if I did it, it would help people. The second reason, kind of selfishly, was I was going to be taking pictures and videos of things and trying to send them to my friends and family. You know, my friend here in England, my mom and dad in South Carolina, my friends here in Texas. So, oh yes, yes. Tony and his wife are La Lita Loca. They are really, really nice. They have great cruise videos. Yes, those are some really good ones. But instead of trying to save all of that and remember all of that, I kind of did like a live walking tour. I felt like they got more than just a picture and then me having to type out a text. And quite honestly, I could just compile it into a video. That's what I do as a YouTuber, compile everything in a video, and then they can watch it and give it a thumbs up with everybody else, right, y'all? If you're YouTubers, you understand that. And so that was the twofold reason of that. Like I said, it was a very busy cruise, lots of ports, and I like more sea days. So, you know, if you are looking to chill, there was a lot of opportunity to chill if you want. You don't have to do everything that is on board. But I'm one of those people that I'm like, well, I might want to do origami. Oh, I might want to paint. Oh, I might want to learn to crochet. Y'all know I can't crochet. But they give you all these lists of things. It's like picking things from a candy store, and you don't even like that kind of candy, but you might want to try it. But this was a very heavy activity cruise. They had wonderful talks. So if you just wanted to kind of chill and listen, lots of informational talks. I loved the one about how the line, well, I missed the one about the 150 years. I missed that one, probably because I was videoing, but I heard that was a really great talk. It was just like how Holland America has evolved. The one that I really liked, and I did several snippets on in one video, was kind of like the inner workings. Like, how do they get drinking water? You know, like how does all that come about? Is the water safe and all that? They answered so many questions about how much food they have to get at different ports, and it was tons and tons of food. I think this cruise ship held like 1,000, 1,200 people. I do remember our cruise director saying that for every two passengers, there was one crew member on this. Probably why we got such wonderful service. Yeah, I could crochet in my spare time. I don't have the patience to crochet. Another question that I had, is food included in the price of your cruise? Yes and no. All the food that you need, 3 meals plus more a day, is included in the price of your cruise through the dining room or the Lido Market. Now, see, I'm a Lido Market kind of girl. The Lido deck, that's me, because it's the buffet, and you could try a piece of this and try a piece of that. And, you know, if you just felt like getting a salad, or maybe you just wanted to have dessert, you could do that. When you go to the dining room, they were offering courses. Now, yes, you can try multiple. That was another question. But what if I wanted, you can try, I think, multiples of each, but I think the max is maybe 2 of each course that you can try. But honestly, it's enough. It's enough food. Formal dining room most of the time needed a reservation, just so they would know how many people and tables to set. But there are 2 other, at this time, there were 2 other for pay restaurants that were considered specialty dining. And that was the Canaletto and the Pinnacle, I think, the Pinnacle Grill. And I showed them in the video. Now, for the Canaletto, we did opt to eat there one night as a little splurge, mainly because we didn't see anything that we hadn't had already or tried or were interested in the other areas. But that food I took pictures of and showed you what I got to eat. And that food was amazing. It was amazing. So yes, the food that you need, all 3 meals. There was a 24-hour taco bar, and there's also a burger and hot dog joint on the ship. So you could just food hop Dolores says, I love a Lido Duck buffet. Yes, you can go to the Lido Deck anytime, and there is some kind of food, y'all, some kind of food. Not to mention all of the little parties, like when we did the sail away, they were passing around hors d'oeuvres. And they're fancy hors d'oeuvres. When there was the chocolate party, there was the orange party with more hors d'oeuvres. So constant food, constant food. Also, when you first get on board, I mean, you heard the guy say, and the Lido market is open. And at first I was like, well, that's so nice of them to have it open for all of us people getting on. No, because a lot of people will cruise. We did 7 days, which is we did Boston to Montreal. And some people are smart and did Montreal back to Boston. So there's constantly somebody on the ship. There's some people getting off, there's some people getting on, and there's some people staying on. And I did figure out the airfare because it was one way. We did Houston to Boston, and then we did Montreal to Houston. That airfare from Montreal to Houston was almost $1,400. And then it was almost nine something. It was nine something for us to go to Boston to, Houston to Boston. Now, those were direct flights. That's a pro. Direct flights is a pro because if you ever miss something, especially going to your embarkation day, that could be a problem. Now, for us, we always go the day before, and we stay the night of disembarkment and come back. I just don't know if I would be able to do all of that, like customs, like you disembark, you go to another country, you go through the airline thing, you go through customs, hurry up and get on a plane. I just don't think I could have done that. You could have flown to the UK for that. I could have flown to the UK for cheaper than that, Dolores. So by the time, so we kind of split it up. Like I say, oh, I'll pay for the flight, thinking that the cruise was going to be really expensive and I was getting the best end of that deal. No, Lovey got the best end of that deal. Because yes, I did. I will tell you about a couple eat off of the ship. Because the cruise was actually cheaper than the flights. Now, not the extra spending money or eating out that we did, but yes. Room service is also included. Now, there are a few things in room service, and they've clearly marked them as to how much they were, but room service 24 hours a day is also included in the price of your cruise. Now, it took me about 2 or 3 days I think it's 2 days to figure out I could put that little note on the outside of the door at, before 11 o'clock or midnight or whatever time. Actually, you could do it anytime. And they would knock on my door and bring me hot coffee in the morning without me even having to be mindful and awake. I was in on that deal, especially when we had the veranda and we could have coffee, looking for bears or watching for whales sailing in Alaska. But it still was very beneficial because, quite honestly, I didn't want to get up and hurry all the time. This time what we did was we also asked, we did not get the drink package. So if you are cruising and you are considering a drink package for Holland America, I can't speak for any other line. The first time we got a drink package. We don't know anything. I don't drink at all. Lovey was like, well, I'll probably have a beer with dinner, or, maybe we'll have a beer and burgers, or maybe, his daughter and him would have a beer or a drink after she performed. But it was like $500 and something per person. Now you're saying, well, you don't drink, so you don't need one. That's not true. On this particular line, and I'm not sure if it's like that for everything, if he had a drink package and me, because I know I don't look it, but I am over 21. Anyone else over the age of 21 or over also had to have a matching drink package. So he got the package, therefore I had to get the package, and y'all, that was almost $1,200. So there, and you get 15 drinks a day, whether that's canned water, sodas, specialty coffees like little lattes and all that. Just give me some half cap and some cream and sugar. I'm good. It is a lot of bang for your buck. It is. Um, so we I don't I don't I don't drink. So we were using it to buy canned water. Now on the first cruise in Alaska, we had a mini fridge and it comes stocked as most do in any hotel room or whatever. And this one, we did not have a mini fridge, but it also had some for pay drinks and bottled water and all that here. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do is have them come in and remove all of that. So once they remove it, and if they charge you, some hotels charge you to come in and remove it. Holland America did not charge us to remove it. It just keeps people from being like, oh, let me grab this, and that be like a $5 Coca-Cola. So oh, me too. Me too. Now, hey, Lori, how are you? So we just had him remove it, and then we would get cans of water, and we would, or Sprite or something like that, and we would put it in with our drink package and put it in. This time we did not have a fridge, and we did not get a drink package. They have water, they have lemonade, they have tea, they have coffee, they have orange juice, they have cranberry juice. You've got plenty to drink, and it was cheaper for him if he did want to have. He likes to try different kind of beers. So if he did want to have a beer with dinner, it was like $5 or $7, much cheaper. I mean, he wasn't drinking 15 a day, that's for sure. So that's just one of the tips that immediately saved us $1,200. Oh yeah, all cruise lines have the same rule about the drink package. Yeah, that's what Dolores was saying too. It's not worth it unless you're a drinker. Like if you're a drinker and you know that you're going to party it down, then I mean, I just wasn't willing to do that, especially on the boat. Because I wasn't sure if I was going to get seasick, which was another question somebody asked me. No, I never got seasick. The first cruise, I did get land vertigo. And that means that when I got off of the boat, I felt and moved like I was on a rough day at sea. I was falling, I was bumping into things. I do tend to have inner ear issues when I fly sometimes. But it was my first cruise. The ENT was like, well, you've been in a lot of pressurized vehicles. You've been on an airplane, you've been in a car, you've been in elevators, you've been on cruise ships. So what happens is your inner ear bone actually moves, and they have to readjust and put your inner ear bone back in its place by doing all of these really weird head movements. But it worked. However, I thought I was going to die for like 2 weeks once I got home. Also, when we went the first time, we did end up getting COVID, which we believe we got on the plane or at the airport, because we were not sick until well into our trip. It was like the tail end of that. So mine was exasperated because of COVID. This time we didn't get COVID. Yay! And we had a very mild case, praise the Lord, because that would have been a horrible experience. We didn't get COVID, and I did not have the inner ear issue. But I never was seasick. I was well prepared if I was going to be, but I wasn't. So those are some of the few things. Holland America, another reason that I kind of like it. It is a mature line, so it's going to be mainly my age people and above. Now, I will say on the Alaska cruise, now this cruise, there was a lot more kids. It's multi-generational usually that go on a Holland America cruise. I'm sure maybe lots of other cruises, but this one, it's kind of more of your elite, more of your, we're done with all that. Although, some people will kick up their shoes on that dance floor now. We had a good time watching other people dance. Let me just say that. But it was calm. And so things kind of calmed down by midnight, which was fine because let me just tell you, I was in, let's see, three states, 3 time zones and 2 countries in 7 days and back and forth. And that was a lot because we're on Central Time. We got to Boston, that's Eastern Time. We got to like Halifax, that was Atlantic Time, stayed there for a couple of days, then moved back to Eastern Time, then came back to Central Time. I was like, I don't even know what day it is. Thank God for those little carpets that are that are in the elevator that say Sunday, Tuesday, and that's why they do that, y'all. It's perfect. The other question I got was internet. When we were on Alaska, it's supposed to be the more modern boat, the Pinnacle ship. The internet was just bad. We actually got refunded for my internet because I paid for the premium package. Hey, Mary, thanks for coming. This time, and I think there's a couple of different reasons. We never had to get as far out. This is my opinion. I'm not a cruise captain, but I just feel like we didn't have to go as far out in the waters when we were doing the what I consider bay. So from Boston to Bar Harbor and then up. You know, we did cross international waters and stuff, but I don't really feel like we were out as far as long, right? But you know, we both got the premium internet package. Now, I wasn't able to upload. So if you're a YouTuber or whatever, and you want to do the videos, because I don't have full storage on my phone, my fault. I don't have a 1 gig phone or 1 terabyte phone. And I've got 6,000 pictures on there that I wasn't willing to delete. I found every public library because that was free Wi-Fi, and I apparently became the go-to girl. They would get off the boat. There was a group of sisters, bless their heart. They were older ladies and they were traveling and having themselves a good time, y'all. They were having themselves a good time. I'd like to be a fly on the wall. I bet you they're like that all the time. But their children were like, hey, well, it's not working for them. You do. I helped walk them through that. And I guess they heard us somewhere. And I said something, but I'm going to the library we were leaving. That's what we were doing. We were disembarking in a port, and they heard me say, I'm going to the library to use the internet. And they were like, you know where the library is? You know how to get some internet? I need to call my daughter. Yes, ma'am. Follow us. We're going to have to walk up here. So I know where every one of the public libraries. And I will say that the public libraries were more accessible during these ports, and there were more of them than in Alaska. And I tried to include them in the videos along with some type of landmark or the street name. So that was a lot of fun to do. But internet did work. I talked to my mom. I Marco Polo Dolores. I did all the important things, but I could text, and I could post and things like that. I just couldn't upload. The other question I got was about the currency. So, it just depends on if you're going to shop. On the boat, there's no money exchanged. Everything, you put a credit card on, and everything is used your room key. Don't lose your room key. Now, one thing I noticed was in Alaska, they had punched them so you could wear them on a lanyard. These room keys didn't come automatically punched, but you could go to guest services to get them punched. I don't wear lanyards. I have a thing that lanyards look like leashes to me, and I just can't wear them. I don't wear one at work when I'm supposed to. I just wear a little clip, but I just kept it in my little clip that I wear that has my ID and credit card. But I had the credit card on file. So if you wanted to buy a soda, or if you wanted to go to Pinnacle Grill or something like that for pay, anything that was done for pay, if you wanted to buy and shop the perfumes that were duty free, the jewelry, any of that stuff, you would do that with your onboard credit card that you had using your stateroom key. So don't lose that. You also need that stateroom key. They will scan, and it has your picture on it, because when you go to do everything online, I'm gonna circle back to this, but when you do everything online, you do have to take a picture of yourself. When you first get on, your room keys are there. They already have run your passport, and everybody's been cleared, and your room key has your picture on it. So let me back up and say that when you're booking with, and again, I can only talk about Holland America, if you do all the online and pre-check-in stuff, you are going to sail through embarkation and your cruise. If you wait to do that when you get there, that you're going to spend a lot of time at guest services and at the cruise port. So that's one little tip. As far as the money, once we got to Nova Scotia, things were in CAD, Canadian dollars. Which there's an exchange rate, like somebody told me 73 cents. I think Helen H. Welch and them were telling me the other day. I can't remember what it is. So when you swipe your card, because I went to an antique shop. Had to. I went to an antique shop. It will charge your card. If they said, like, I don't know, say you spent $48 CAD at said antique shop. When you get your bill, it will have the conversion rate and it be withdrawn from your checking account in US dollars, but there is going to be a very nominal fee for an international, it's an international fee. So I did want to just say that there's no exchanging cash. Now you can tip your stewards and things like that in cash if you want, or you can do what we do, which is we prepay all of our tip. It's basically like, hey, 16% for everything and it charges you I think it's $16 a day. Might not be 16 cents, 16%. I think it's $16 a day per person. So we paid $32 a day and that tipped everybody. Our waiters, our waitresses, our cabin steward or whatever, but you can give extra with that. So if y'all have any questions, I want to say thanks for coming and hearing me ramble about this. Again, it was going to be a video, but quite honestly, y'all, I needed a break from editing. So I thought I'll just do it like this and people can watch and you can watch the replay. But don't forget, y'all, thumbs up on the replay, thumbs up now. And again, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so and hit that notification bell. We have a lot of fun here. So travel and packing, as you saw in day one, someone thought that we were gonna fit in one suitcase and 2 carry-ons because they were not going to take a lot of clothes. Well, we got there. We weighed it with our own weigh thing, and it said we were fine. I always carry a flat collapsible bag. Thank you, Jesus, that I did that because we were 8 pounds over. We had to take clothes out, and he just had to carry that carry-on. Because I think we were 1 suitcase, 1 carry-on, and our backpacks. So we ended up being 1 suitcase, 2 carry-ons and backpacks. When we went to Alaska, of course, we had to bring he had to bring his fishing gear because he did get to go fishing. He did not get to go fishing this time. But also we had to bring heavier clothes. So if y'all have any questions, put them in the chats or anything. If you've been on a cruise, I appreciate, y'all letting me know that some things are the same. The plastic luggage tags, somebody asked me about these. I did get these off of Amazon. This is the shape that Holland America uses. Now, this might be for our Carnival. I don't know, but some of them are square and they're bigger. When it's time and you're done everything, they will give you a luggage tag and boarding pass, and you print off, and they're color coded. So you're going to print off 1 per bag that they're going to carry. So what I did was I even did my carry-ons, because once you're through the airport, they can take all of my bags. I don't care. I always just put an extra. I could keep going on the cruise. I would just wear the same thing. But I had 1 change of clothes in my carry-on. But these are by Cruise On, and I don't know. I don't think I put a description down, but they are in the description of my packing videos for Alaska and here. But they're color coded, so you fold them and it goes in here. Now, this is the way that Holland America's prints. These are basically indestructible and they twist. So I didn't know that I got 2 packs of 4, but I now have an extra pack. The other thing that we did not use but took last time, and we kind of didn't need it after we figured this out, but I would always take it anyway. This is a cruise adapter. Now, I think like if I went to visit, I know when I went to Israel, I had to have the H adapter for outlets. I don't know about the UK. So this is the adapter for a cruise ship, and you can see it gives you 2 of the USB and 3 plugs. And I'm glad we took this time because it's an older ship and it did not have the ports, not ports, but yeah, the USB ports, and it didn't have outlets. Now, the first cruise ship, the more modern one, all along the headboard had ports on each side. There were just plugs and ports everywhere, but this one only had 1. What we did find out was that you can ask them, your cabin steward, Holland America Line, to give you it's a surge protector that allows for that, as well as an extension cord. So we got one, and then we were like, no, I think we're going to be good with this. That was just one more thing to keep in the room. I talked to you about the direct flights. That was definitely a pro. I talked to you about no drinking package. That was definitely a pro, unless you are a drinker. Now, if you are a drinker and you're going to have, this is my party, and you're also going to have specialty coffees plus drinks, plus Sprites and Coca-Colas and Dr. Peppers and Diet Coke. If you're going to do that, then yeah, that's the drink package. But if you're not, no. I talked to you about the cruise outlet. Let's talk about the ducks. Y'all, the ducks, they were so much fun. It's the first time I did it. I did not know it was a thing, because remember, Holland America was my first time in Alaska, and I don't think they did that with when I was 10. If they did, I didn't notice it. But I found at a thrift store, I still have a huge bag of them, but I picked out all of the pirate and captain ducks. And I did number them. I only took 6. I did like 1 a day except for disembarkment. Think I missed a day. And so I ended up doing 1 in disembarkment, which was I left a note for the next person in our stateroom with a duck that they could either keep or they could hide and continue the fun. I did run into one other lady. Now, she had her ducks decked out. So kudos to you. She had done the ducks, and she did like Nerf bullets, and she made little rafts with them. If I was going to do something differently with the ducks, I would have probably put a little note. Now, my stepmom said, did you put your business name sticker logo on the bottom? No, because I didn't think of that. But I probably would have put a little note in there. Finding them was a lot of fun. We didn't need our COVID record, and we didn't need to wear masks this time. I did wear masks on the planes, simply because if you don't know, I do have a lung issue, which is severe asthma. So just precautionary on a plane. The fires, somebody asked me about the fires. Did they have any impact? No, we did not have any problems with the fire from the smoke from the fires. Again, Holland America had lots of communication. I told you about the pre-check. Excursions. You can buy your excursions, your drink package. You can do all of that, all the tipping and everything. You can do that on the pre-check-in. Get it all done. Honestly, we look through all of the excursions. I will say, if you're going to do a cruise, when you book your cruise, look at the excursions, because those things go super fast. We didn't know they were going to go that fast when we did Alaska. So that was a con. And he missed out on the boat, the tour for fishing that he really wanted to go into, but he was on a waiting list, but he never got picked up for that one, but he did get to go on the second one. We looked together at this time, and really there was only one that I was interested in, and that was Peggy's Cove. And if you didn't get to see the Peggy's Cove video, y'all, it is breathtaking. It is absolutely beautiful. So buy your excursions early. Don't wait to get on the boat. Everybody's like, oh, I'll wait. They might be cheaper. I haven't made up my mind. Y'all don't wait. That's a tip. And there are a lot of excursions to do by private vendors. But let me just say this. If they're late getting back, Holland America will not wait. if Holland America, we did have one day that we were late leaving, and that's because a Holland America excursion was late getting back due to traffic, like there was construction. So they were late getting the people back. And because it was a Holland America excursion, like booked through those, then they did wait for those people. But it tells you when you book that if you are not on board by the all aboard time, that you're responsible for getting either to the next port or getting home. And if you're going home, you're responsible for having them pack your stuff and pay to have it shipped home. So we always made sure, Bree, I don't know about you guys or anybody else that's cruise. She said she books her excursions as soon as we book the cruise. And we should have probably done that the first time. Now we know. Now we look at them really quickly. And I'm not big on excursions. I mean, I'm not going to get off of a big luxury ship to get on a boat to go fishing or in a kayak in the middle of the ocean. No, that's not my gig. But I will save my lovey $300 by just letting me go to the vintage and antique stores. I thought that was a deal. I thought I was being very polite. So yeah, let's see. We just weren't interested in that money. And here's another tip: do not be afraid to split up. So like I didn't want to go fishing, salmon fishing, but he really did, and I really wanted to go to Nana's attic. So on that day, he went fishing and I went to Nana's attic, and we had two very, very happy people. When we came back, we got to talk about it. He showed me the pictures of his fish. He had it sent to the house. It was overnighted. Basically, they cleaned it and overnighted it. So we got to have the fish that he caught there in Alaska, and that was great. And so, you know, I wouldn't pay to drag somebody into an $80 or $100, $300 whale watching when I don't care anything about whale watching. When I was on the boat in Alaska, I could just take my binoculars and I could watch the whales. I watched them. The only thing cheaper on board is spa services. They are very expensive, Bree. The spa services were super expensive. I get a massage, at least a 2-hour massage once a month. And so I pay about, well, I have a membership. So if I didn't have a membership, it would be about $150 to $180. And that was at least what it was for like an hour. So for me, I think those, and they had all kinds of things. You could get Botox, you could get suction cup things. What do you call those things? They have a dermatologist on board. You can go in some hydro pool for all this money, or you can put your feet in the regular pool and it'd be free. But some of those fancy things just don't mean anything to me. I wanted to go to the Rusty Crusty vintage store, you know. But there is something for everyone, whether you're going and you want this to be a luxury cruise, or you're going and you just want to see new places and they're the vessel to take you. There is something for everyone. Let's see. I am going to say, and it's going to sound ugly, but it's not ugly. It's my experience. My experience with cupping. Hey, Miss Martha. Yes. Hey, girl. Hey. So my experience, I love touring Canada. I did not enjoy as much the airports in Canada. So our first one was very anxious. It was made you very anxious. I think that particular airport was not prepared for the 3 different cruise lines that pulled up and disembarked the same day. And we went through their kiosks weren't working. It was a mess. We got there and then they were like, okay, get in line. And I go, what line? They go, this one over there. That was almost a 2-hour wait. We didn't have 2 hours. So we barely, like I literally left Lovey. I left him because I was sick. I had COVID and I was masked up. I was hot. I was frustrated. I was all the things. And y'all, I left that poor man. He had tolerated me for 7, 8, 9 days. And I left him because to say I'm so sorry, but I'm ready to go home. And the airline, it was not Canada, but the airline messed up our seats and we didn't get what we paid for. Then that was a whole thing. So we were very prepared, pre-prepared. Yeah, Canada airports, they're not hurried. They're not hurried people. So they are very laid back. It's us go, 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 go Americans that kind of, they're like, what are you doing? This time we got there very early. It was a much bigger airport. I think that was it. We got there much earlier. We had a lot of time to, you saw me. I got to get Tim Hortons. Don't call them donut holes. They're not donut holes. I called them donut holes, and the girl looked at me like I was completely an idiot. While that might be true on some topics, I know a donut hole when I see one. They were amazing. Oh, they were just amazing. And we got coffee and all the things, but we had zero problems going through customs. Now, I will say on both times we were zero problems. Air Canada. Now, this is a United issue because I booked with United. I had seats. I like to travel with him. He kind of keeps me here, which is a good thing. I like to have an aisle seat because I have confinement issues. If I want to get up and move around, I got to be able to get up and move around. And I don't like to disturb people. So we had seats. I had a picture. I've learned to take a picture of when I book it. And once we got there, we found out that it was going to be operated by Air Canada. So when we checked in, I said something about my seats. It didn't come up. And she said, "Oh, you'll do that at the gate." I thought, well, that's stupid. Okay. So I just conformed. I went to the gate. She was none too happy to see us asking about seats because she was preparing a flight and she was very busy. And that's what she told us. So we had to go to customer service. So we went to Air Canada customer service. He was very kind. And he said, 30 minutes before, they're going to call you up and they're going to give you your seat. I said, they don't need to give me my seat. I already got a seat. I picked it out. He was like, well, it doesn't show. I said, okay. So I actually was talking to my dad for Father's Day on the phone. And I sent Lovey, the level-headed one, and he didn't come back with the answer that I wanted, y'all. So then I had to go up there. I had to say, I have to go, Dad, go up there. So at the end of the day, we ended up being split up again. And I ended up being in a window seat. So I had to practice the pause and just be like, you know what? You're in a foreign country. Get to Texas. Close your yap and get to Texas. Well, I think Lovey at that point knew that I had had enough because the next thing I knew, the gentleman who was sitting beside me, the lady came and asked if he would like to switch to a window seat. And he said no. He was a very tall gentleman. I can understand that. And I had just resolved to be a party of one. But Lovey worked his magic. The next thing I knew, I was already mad. I was looking out the window and I just kind of caught up my eye and he was sitting beside me. So one of the other passengers took a window seat so that gentleman could move to a aisle seat so Lovey could move up. So God is good. Once again, kept me from being in trouble. The other thing is with Air Canada, I am used to a lot of pre-warning. There's going to be some turbulence, the estimated time. We're Americans. We eat, we want snacks, water, all the things. They came by the first 5 minutes and asked us if we wanted water. It was about a 4-hour flight. And we never had any snacks, pretzels, peanuts, anything. Not today, Martha, not today. I've gotten so good at that. But they didn't ask us if we wanted more water. We had tremendous turbulence. And the captain never came on and said, hey guys, we're experiencing some turbulence and we're going to try to go around it. United and we just kind of smoosh everybody. We didn't get anything. So I was very glad to be, I'd never been so glad to see downtown Houston in my life. But we made it. God is good. We made it. So, Other than that, that was probably the only negative thing, which is the flight home. Other than that, we were good. Now, we did do embarkation. The process is very smooth when you do pre-check. I do feel like it's hurried. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like it's a very hurried process. And maybe because they're trying to herd so many people. But give me a minute, because you're asking me to take out my passport and my driver's license. And I'm a nervous Nelly about losing those things and not being able to get back to my house. You know what I mean? So that's just me. There was a sail away party, y'all. It was so much fun. Definitely attend your sail away parties, your orange party, the chocolate party, y'all, the chocolate party. Did you see that? We did a Mediterranean cruise. Our transatlantic flight was Air Canada. We were squished, no refreshments, never again. You know, I'm glad it's not just me. I know this will come as a shock, especially to like Dolores and Miss Martha, but I can be a little fickle, prickly. I know. Pause for dramatic effect. But I thought it was just me because no one else seemed to be bothered. Um, and I literally thought I was going to come out of my skin. Yeah. United acquired Continental. Yeah. Is that what happened, Martha? Because I used to be Continental and then it was United. So maybe that's it. And, you know, I'm used to just going to South Carolina. I've been so many times. Half the people know me there at the airport. The orange party was a lot of fun. Now, I will say that people dressed up a little bit more on dressy nights, kind of like, I'm going to say Mother of the Bride style, but it's a little like cocktail party. And when we were in Alaska, they'd had like they do in Texas, starched jeans and a cowboy hat. That's dressy for a wedding, you know. So we were used to that. The chocolate party, y'all, that was fun. Here's another tidbit that I learned. It's a different chocolate. It's like a dark chocolate. And so it's an acquired taste. It is not like Hershey's where it's milk chocolate, but the way that they make everything is just so beautiful. Like chocolate dip Cheerios. You know, I mean, I can now do that. I can now do that. But all the parties were really, really nice. Okay, let's talk food. I will say that the variety and the quality of the food was a little, no, there was, before I lied to you, Martha, I think there might have been one thing of white chocolate. And I wasn't sure if that wasn't going to be carob. So I didn't have it. I'm a sweet. I'm like a sugar person. And I didn't see any white chocolate. But I will say that the quality of food, but it was, again, I can't really compare because we've got an older ship and I've got a Pinnacle style ship. Volume of food, variety wise, yes, there was everything from oxtails to Indian food. There was Indian cuisine. There was pizza and sandwiches and all that. And some of that pizza, sandwiches, and all of that kind of stuff is like a staple, like rolls, like they always have that. But when you're looking at the meals, I think the variety of food on the Noordam was a little bit different and better than the Zandam. Now, the food was still good. Don't get me wrong. Nobody gains as much weight as we did not eating good food. Their desserts were amazing. I did notice that they had vegetarian, they had vegan, and everything was clearly marked. Whether it was vegetarian, vegan, they had things that were marked no sugar added, and things like that. They had things that were marked gluten-free. So that I noticed a lot more on this ship. When we ate at the Canaletto, which was for a paid dining experience, the first thing they said was, "Hi, welcome to the Canaletto. Does anyone have any food allergies?" No one has ever asked us that before. And clearly no. So we were good to go. They had some wonderful combinations of food for that. When you are in Canada, poutine is a must. I was like, don't know, doesn't sound like it would be good, so I'm not going to eat that. then they kept telling, then they were like, oh, it's really good. It's fries and gravy and cheese curds. And I was like, stop. You know, because I'm a very vanilla eater. But I started seeing pictures because I'm very visual. So I started seeing pictures, and a girl who was on that is also a dancer, because Lovey's daughter said the same thing. I don't know about cheese curds. And she said, if you like mozzarella cheese, you will like the cheese curd because it melts the same. It tastes kind of the same. So we did try that in Montreal. We did try that, and I highly recommend, if you're in Montreal, the place that I showed and said we ate the poutine in. I mean, it was like you go down. They had all this antique, like Victorian furniture, teacups, very, very French bakery kind of style, and it was really good. Now, he got bacon, and you saw, if you watched the video, that I got pepperoni. In the US, pepperoni is dried and it's on pizza. This pepperoni was more like, it had a bologna consistency, but it didn't taste like bologna, and it had the cracked peppers in it. So it was like a real meat. But it was good, very filling I mean, it was huge. If you saw our portions, they were very huge. All of the portions were big. I was thinking, oh, it's going to be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It wasn't. It was all very big portions. So we did eat there when we were in Quebec City. There's another restaurant where we ate. It's very, very small, super small. And they have open cooking kitchen right there. That was really good. That restaurant is really good. I had a crate, homemade strawberry jelly, and homemade bread. That was really good there. Lobster roll. Well, everybody kept saying, try a lobster roll, try a lobster roll. If you like lobster rolls, put it in the comments. If you've ever had a lobster roll, put it in the comments. One thing that I learned when we went to Peggy's Cove, our guide for the hour drive there and the hour back was given all this information. And she said that in that New England, Canada area, they eat lobster cold. I've only had lobster hot dipped in some yummy, yummy butter. So I was thinking, I knew what it looked like, but I thought it was going to be warm, and it wasn't warm. So I think that's kind of what took me away from that. Nettie says she loves a good lobster roll. The bread was phenomenal. So originally I had wanted to eat a lobster roll in every port, like from Nova Scotia, the two, Halifax and Sydney, and then in Canada, to kind of see who had the best lobster roll. But we didn't do that because I wasn't a fan. Now Lovey ate it, and his daughter ate it. She got coleslaw. He got sweet potato fries. Those were really good. And he said it was really good, but it's like a cold seafood salad, and I don't like cold food. So I'm wondering if I would have liked it better if it had been warm. You know, even like with a little bit of warm mayonnaise or whatever they put in it, I may have liked it better. Do they ever serve them warm, Nettie? Or is any of that ever warm, or it's all like a seafood salad? That would be interesting to me. If you are a beer enthusiast, I've had a couple of people email me about this, like, hey, we saw you went to this place twice. The Old Triangle. And I'll never forget that in, was it Sydney? I think it's in Sydney. I've only had them cold. Maybe that's how they come. No, Halifax and Sydney. We ate at the Old Irish Triangle. Made me think of Miss Martha. And he went there to try a couple of the local beers. He's an IPA drinker. He'll be like, I want to taste this. He samples beer. I was like, no, I'm not sampling, because what if I don't like it? But we let him try like one or two there. Then the next day, we didn't get food. When we were in Sydney, we went there again, and we got bar food. Y'all, they had these potato skins, and they had like pork barbecue. Was it pork or brisket? It might have been brisket, y'all. I think it was brisket. But they had their own barbecue sauce, like a Jack Daniel's sauce. Those things are amazing. So if you're near an old triangle Irish pub, I guess it's like a little chain. Get the bar nachos, or no, not the, no, those were the potato skins. And we got I think they're bar nachos, but they're with their chips. They're with their like homemade chips on them. Y'all, that was so good. I'm going to try to recreate it. It probably won't be the same. In Halifax, once we got to Halifax, I will say we had to have our passport one time. We had to have our passport when we first got off. And you have to, so you scan your ID when you get off, and you scan your stateroom. You'll have to have your stateroom key when you get off and when you get on. The second time, I think when we were in I think it's Halifax and Sydney. The first time we had to have like a passport and an ID, and the second time we just had to have an ID. Hey, Sherry, how are you? Thanks for coming by. She says, I have had warm lobster on brioche roll with melted butter. Oh, now see, I could probably do that. I could probably eat that. Yeah. Lobster, butter, brioche roll. Yes, I'm good because I'm a very big bread eater. So you do need to have your passport. I think they took an ID one time. Oh, she says yummy. Thanks for coming. But you do have to, and if you have a hat on, they'll tell you to take your hat off so they can verify, but you could leave your glasses on. Sydney, Halifax was wonderful. We enjoyed Halifax a lot. I really liked Halifax. Sydney was much smaller, but Sydney is where I got to go to my first thrift store, and it was called Gallery. And you hear this huge gasp and a yell, babe, look what I see. That's because I saw the Gallery, and that was a thrift store. I happened to pick up a little cat brooch. I picked up a bee brooch, and I picked up a little owl brooch. Now, I don't think they're really old, but they sure are pretty. And she had, and I do take you shopping in that store with me. Very, very sweet young girl. Lots of people were shopping in there. And then we had our travel day. That's when you will see the ship tour. Now, most of these are staterooms and I show you the whole thing, and I take you everywhere. I think the only place I didn't take you that day was the spa and the fitness center, but we went up to the fitness center the following day. So yeah, if you've been on this boat, let me know in the chat or in the comments. Let me know like what you thought about it, and in comparison to any of the other ships with Holland America or cruise lines. Let me know if you like lobster rolls and how did you have them. Again, the travel days are my favorite because you just wear comfy clothes and just chill out. In Quebec, this was probably my favorite port. And again, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, really 5, 6 ports. We did not get to see Boston at all. That's a con. We did not get to see Boston at all. Oh, and I was going to tell you some other things. Yeah, Boston. We didn't get to see Boston at all. We stayed at the Hampton Inn in Revere, which somebody put in the comments that that's where they were staying. Do they have a shuttle? They do have a free shuttle from the hotel to the airport, but there is no free shuttle from the airport to the cruise terminal or from a hotel to a cruise terminal. And I really think they could do that because it was really only 2 miles from the airport to the cruise terminal. I'm really thinking Holland America could do that, or the airport could do that with the amount of people that are flying through there. So we did have to take a taxi for that. Another question someone asked me, we'll go back to Quebec in a second. They asked me, was the trip wheelchair accessible, or for how did it work for people with limited mobility? And I think that's a great question. There were a lot of walkers, some scooters, and some wheelchairs. We did have a service animal on board with us, and I thought that was great. Holland America made a pet relief area on the walking deck. I believe it was at I can't remember if it was at the aft or the bow of the boat, but and we did have the service animal there. I will say it's very accessible because there's elevators. And let's see, there was a lot of walkers. I think they have their own like scooters that were available as well. Now, one of the ports, Bar Harbor, was a tender port. That means you get off of said big ship we got onto a transport boat, but we came back on a lifeboat. So that was fun. I got to ride in a lifeboat. They're rough. They're really rough. So I will say that we did have people who were using wheelchairs. They were not wheelchair bound, but they did not walk well. So they have a whole system of getting someone down the stairs. They put their wheelchair, they get the wheelchair over, they get somebody walking them down. And the cannolis, I know that was the one thing I wanted to do in Boston, and I didn't get a cannoli. So now I have to go to Boston just to get a cannoli. But they did get on the tender, and then they helped them up, and there was a ramp, and the tender people took them up there, and they were able to use their wheelchair. So yes, of course, robes, blankets, they have a safe, they have hangers, they have everything you need. You really could just live there. And that's what Lovey's daughter does. She is not a crew member. She does not work for Holland America. She works for the dance company, but they're contracted. And so she doesn't have the other duties that people who work. So like if you maybe are in housekeeping, you might have a hospitality duty or something like that on some cruise lines. She doesn't. She goes, she dances, she rehearses. She's a passenger. She goes, she dances, but her dances, as you saw, are very physically demanding. And there's a lot of them. So she sometimes did 2 shows. All of her shows she did 3 nights, but they were 2 shows each night back to back. And that was a lot. I was driving. There's a lobster roll place near my daughter in Tempe. You can have hot or cold butter or mayo. Does she have a private cabin? She does. She does have a private cabin because she's a passenger. She's a contracted worker. Crew members, she is on the crew deck, but every cruise she's had a private cabin. Now, I'm sure that they could bunk them if they needed to, but she's had a private one every time. On this one, they had a movie theater, so that's a big pro. They had a movie theater. The only thing that was a con is that a lot of times the movies were shown at 8:30. Well, that's when the main stage stuff was happening. So, some people don't like loud noises. Some people just want to watch a movie. I think there was a couple of 2:30 showings of the movies, and they were the one movie that I actually wanted to see. What is the one about Tom Brady? 80 for Brady, 40, I don't remember. 80 for Brady. That movie was playing. Some other good ones. One thing that I did like was, well, at first I didn't understand it, but then I came to like it. The announcements are made on the loudspeaker, but they don't come in your room. If you want to hear them in your room, you turn on the TV to the aft or the bow of the boat, and you can hear the same thing. My first one, y'all, I was running to the door and opening the door because I didn't know you could get them. I didn't know you could watch that. I mean, I'm new. What do you expect? Let's talk about TV. Sometimes you do want to just chill out and stay in your room. You're going to watch HGTV, ESPN, Fox. I don't even know if they had Fox News. Or you're going to watch the Food Network. I will not watch any of those anymore. 80 for Brady is so funny. I wanted to see it, but I didn't get to see that. Oh, thank you, Helen. She is beautiful. And she moves like I mean, all of those people do. This is the second crew that she's second or third. This is the second crew that we have seen. And all of those dancers have been amazing, amazing. So let's see. The towel animals, of course, are my favorite. Now, on the Alaska one, we got a towel animal every night. I love turn down service. It kind of makes me feel fancy. So they come in the morning when you leave and they tidy your room. And then, make sure you have fresh towels and blah, blah, blah. At evening, they'll come in and turn down your bed and, move the pillows and all that. They'll put the next day's itinerary and anything that you need to do. And 2 days out of this cruise, Tuesday and Thursday, we got a towel animal. Those are my favorite. I don't know why. I wish I could make them, but I can't. We found the beds to be very comfortable. Pillows were very comfortable. We don't know if we were just dead tired or we slept real good. The temperature in the room was very nice. The temperature on the ship was very nice. We were never hot nor cold. They left us little gifts with our daily schedules. Let's see. I think that's it. We did get the pitcher. I told y'all about that. We got a pitcher of water, and that made a big difference. We are big, couldn't believe you had a bathtub. Yes. This one, did the other one have one? I don't remember, y'all. But yes, it was an old school bathtub. Did you see that? It was an old school bathtub. And it gave us the little suction mats, what I'm really glad about because, I'll trip and fall on my own feet. So go back to Quebec. I do think that was my favorite. I will say I was Belgium hippie. Heidi left a comment that said, yeah, it's really hilly over here in Belgium too. People come to train, cyclists. If you saw that video, oh my gosh, it was like, okay, let's just go up. And we were like going up. And then it started doing like this. And I was like, oh my gosh, everything we want to see is way up here. And then we had to come down. And I kept hearing our cruise director say something about funicular. We thought he was saying like a vehicle. I guess it is like a vehicular, but he was saying funicular. And we were like, what is that? Because they have an accent. And I was like, what is he saying? And he goes, I don't know, vehicular. And so we were going down and you saw that I showed you the little tram that goes all the way to the top. So Sherry, we did have a bathtub in the one in Alaska. Girl, I don't remember. But I loved it. So the funicular, y'all find the funicular. You don't have to walk up the hill and you don't have to walk back down the steps or the hill. But the shops along, I love that they opened up their little shutters and there was a shop right there. Oh, it was fabulous. I loved it. It was great. I would have liked, I guess I say that, but a little bit more time in the ports. I don't know if it's because I don't like to get up early. So if they could tailor it to me next time, that'd be great, right? Usually we were like 8, 9, or 10 to either 4 or 6. And by the time you get off and get your bearings and take all your pictures and do the stuff that you want to do. I know one day we got off early because our Peggy's Cove thing left at like 9:20 in the morning to ride in a bus for an hour, but it was well worth it. Peggy's Cove was amazing. Now it's a sightsee kind of place, but I really would have, if we'd had a longer time in that port, we could have stayed longer in Peggy's Cove. So that's kind of a con, but it's just the way it works, So because it's an hour there from the port and it's well worth seeing, and it wasn't expensive. It was like $79 a person, but you get all of the information from a local, and she's it's funicular or something. Yeah, I knew what it was once we saw it. It's written on the back. But I couldn't understand what he was saying. They have accents. If you didn't catch that, I kept recording them. Daniel, his name is Daniel. How can I forget that? And I like to be, I'm Sherry, I'm with you. Never enough time. Plus always worrying about getting back to the ship in time. Yeah, we like to be there at least an hour and a half to 2 hours before sail. Just because Hey, Dana Grace, how are you? So I think that if we'd have, because we drove an hour there and we drove an hour back, and we still wanted to see some of Halifax, um, we only got to stay like 30 minutes, 30 minutes at Peggy's Cove, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And I didn't get to go to the gift shop. But except I mean I did find that one ornament. That's because I went upstairs because I had researched it, and it said, I told you I research everything before I go. It said if you at Peggy's Cove, if you go upstairs, you can get a passport stamp. And I did that. And while I was there, I just happened to turn around and there were all like these doily ornaments and crocheted ornaments. I mean, what was a girl to do? I was going to get an ornament anyway. Had to stop and do that real quick, but I probably would have liked to have a little bit of time. As far as now, y'all can tell me what you think. If you're Canadian, if you've been to these places, I will say, and if you are limited mobility, you need to do a hop on, hop off tour. Otherwise, you're trucking it and you're walking. Gift shops are important. I know. But and I still think that a hop on, hop off tour is really great. I will say that I probably would have done one of those in, I would have, so let me explain something. I told Lovey that I said, when you go one way, it takes you a minute to get there. Those people that they went there and then went back, they're smart for two reasons. One, they're doing round trip. They're doing round trip from the same airport. So Houston to Boston, Boston to Houston. No international flight, right? It would have been less money flight wise, right? Probably would have broke even, honestly. But also when you go there, you get to port one time. And then when you come back, you get to hit those ports again and see the things that you didn't get to do. So which towns for hop on and hop off? I'd have probably walked Quebec first and then done a hop on, hop off. I would have gotten to see probably more of Montreal because we had to disembark in Montreal and get to our hotel. Then the hotel, we were there so early that it wasn't ready. And then we tried to figure out, which I'm very proud of myself. I was like, I'm going to do this. I took the metro. Now, don't come from me, city people. I don't go to Houston for a reason. Okay. There's a little rail thing, but it's above ground. And we have metro buses. We don't have subways. I'm from South Carolina. We got 2 lanes going this way and 2 lanes coming this way in my town. And, we got some interstates or whatever. I didn't do subways. So New York, Boston, all of these, I didn't do subways. So I had to learn the subway. I was fearful. It's a big city. You've got big city atmosphere. You've got big city people. You've got big city issues. Okay. You have literally taken me, a foreigner from the small tiny country, dropped me off in Canada in Montreal, and I was determined to say no. I'm gonna figure it out. So they are so nice. They were circling things on the map, like get off here. Well, French is spoken a lot in Quebec. It's more English in Montreal, but there was English everywhere. Don't get me wrong on that. So that was, and they were all very helpful, very, very helpful everywhere we went. But I would have been able to do the port city of Montreal, which is where we had to go down, and I'd have gotten to spend a little bit of more time, and then we could have gotten back on. I have been to Boston, and when we went to San Francisco, that was an eye opener because we had to ride the subway way down in San Francisco. And I looked at him and I said, if you let go of me, I will kill you. But I just, you know, we just drive everywhere we want to go. We just drive or we fly and somebody picks us up at the airport and they navigate all that and then they drive. So I was very proud that we did that. I can now say that I have done a subway in French. It was very nice. It was a very nice transportation system. And our little hotel person they did take us because it was okay, somebody just corrected me. It was the Formula One cars. We were told it's Grand Prix Indy car race, but she said it's Formula One. I'm not sure. Race cars. Fancy race cars. That was going on in Montreal. So I will say that we had to go further away and our hotel was very, very expensive. We just couldn't figure out why there was no openings. And it's because that was going on during this time. So let's see. Very city, yes. But if you come back, so like when we were in Montreal, I would have gotten to go back to Quebec and hit more antique shops. Hello. I'd have done a hop on and hop off there. We'd have gotten to see Sydney again. We'd have gotten to see Halifax. I'd have probably done I keep leaving out Prince Edward Island. Here's the deal with Prince Edward Island. It poured on us. And that's where I was there. And I was like, there's Cal's Creamery. That was the one thing on my list in Prince Edward Island. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to pass it on the way to a thrift store. We'll walk back by there. Girl, we got like way past the Cal's Creamery, but not close to the thrift store. And it just poured. Lovey's wallet that was in his front pocket was completely drenched. Everything on me was completely drenched, as you saw. So our time was cut short there. Had we come back, I would have got to do Prince Edward Island, have Cal's Creamery. And in Prince Edward Island, I would have taken the horse-drawn buggy tour. So if you're going to Prince Edward Island and watching the replay or planning this now, do the buggy tour. It's right outside of the terminal. There's a little sign for them there. So I'd have probably done hop on, hop off in Quebec and in Halifax and I'd have done the horse drawn in Prince Edward Island. They had a hop on and hop off there as well too. So I did get some new experiences. Let's see. What else, y'all? Let's talk about as we wrap up. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you're watching the replay and you have questions, put them in the comments or send me a message here at Sweet Treats and Pretties on Instagram. My information on via email, which is where I got a lot of questions. And I want to thank everybody who watched the videos for putting the questions down there, for correcting me if I was wrong. I do not take offense to that as long as it's done politely. I mean, the more you know, the better you are. So I really appreciate everybody watching. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm really glad that I could take y'all along with me. So let's talk about what I'm glad I took. Umbrella, my rain jacket with a hood. It's lightweight. I got it in Alaska. That was one of my souvenirs to myself. When I went to Dolly's house in, where is that? Where's Dolly's house, y'all? Ketchikan. If you're ever in Ketchikan, you got to go to Dolly's house. You got to go to Dolly's house. I'm just going to say that. I took that lightweight jacket that I got thrifted, $5, got it 50% off. That came in helpful. Extra shoes. You saw that came in helpful. My hat, that came in helpful. And I told you about the dressy nights, but you know, we were fine. I had like flowy pants and a dressy shirt on. We were fine. What I didn't need, I still did not use my swimsuit, although I'll probably continue to take it. I'm just not a big hot tub with other people person, and I wasn't going to get into the pool. I figured I was in a huge pool, the ocean. I didn't wear the orange t-shirt that I had, but I could have because the first day was a lot warmer. I had that sweatshirt on. It was supposed to be really cold, like in the 50s, and it wasn't. It was about in the 70s, and I was dying. I didn't use my selfie stick. I just think they would be too whatever. Do you remember that? I'm special. Yeah, and I pointed it out in that case at Dolly's house. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the curtain roses made out of condoms. I learned that by listening to the tours in Dolly's house. It was a great people. Margot, that is the place for you. Dolly's house, Ketchikan, Alaska. Girl, you will have a ball there. First of all, the vintage throughout the entire house and her story is amazing. The story is amazing. So we were I digress. Hold on. We were in Ketchikan go to my Alaska cruise videos. Go to the Ketchikan video. That's one of the days that I went off and maybe he was doing something that day because I was doing something else. I went to Ketchikan. And I went in the city and I did all around because I went to Dolly's house. I should have stayed longer and taken my time in there, but I was by myself. But I never felt any of the ports that I went to, y'all. I'm going to say I've never felt uncomfortable because I walked around many of the ports by myself because I was like, hey, I got to go to the library. And I'm also going to stop by these 12 stores. You go have a beer at the Old Triangle. I'll catch you up later. So yes, go to the Ketchikan video for Alaska, Dolly's house. Dolly was a entrepreneur, and she was a smart cookie. She had to be, but she was a very smart cookie. She had, and I'm just going to say what they say in the video, she had the market on Hooch and Cooch because she was running a house, a lady's house for gentlemen, and she was importing the good liquor and hiding it. But she did it in Ketchikan, Alaska, where it was like 7 or 12 men per woman. And yes, and it had all of her original stuff. Like her room was there. It was a little red light. Yes, she was a little red light. Mm-hmm. But it was the vintage, her kitchen, the bathroom, everything was fabulous. Everything was fabulous. They even showed you where she used to have the liquor hoisted up, where they would come in and put it in boats and hoist it up. And it tells you how much it cost for every one of her services. So it was a fabulous video. Margot, definitely a place for your bucket list. I also didn't use my travel pouch and the black shift dress, although I did use it's like a little throwover dress because when housekeeping or room service or something comes, you got to have on clothes, So let's talk about what I wish I had taken or wish I had done. Yes. She's in the hospitality industry. So I wish I had taken a metal, like either a Tervis like this with a straw. I had packed one of these in my to-go or my backpack, or I'd have gotten the metal water bottles, because when you embark, no plastic water bottles and no liquids. And y'all remember, I specifically packed that water bottle so that I would have it. A house of negotiated affection. That's it. I love that, Dana Grace. But I wish I had something like this. We drink a lot of water, and I have it by my bedside. I drink it, so I wish I would have taken that, because, they have little glasses. And so anytime you see me walking around with those really fancy, clear-cut, beautiful crystal glasses, that's what they give you that says that's water. Everything else comes in some kind of a fancy, like snifter or like a wine glass or something. I talked about, I want to talk about doing a two-way. If we ever get to cruise again, maybe. And I probably would go on another Holland America cruise, even if she wasn't dancing, because they have some wonderful ports. They do Greece and Panama and all of the places. And I'd love to go to Greece in Europe and all that. They also go to like Amsterdam and all that. That's their place, But I would do a two-way. I would do, and the reason that we don't is because Lovey chooses to work summer school. I choose not to work as much as possible. So I have never in 30 years that I've been teaching done summer school, because when that last day bell rings, I am gone, and do not look for me except I'm crying on the first day. But I'm not going to work summer school. But he works summer school mainly so we can go on the cruises, which is very nice of him. But I would like to do it where we can do the two-way. Oh, good. Okay, we're talking traveling again soon. Well, first of all, you got to come to Texas, because everybody's wanting you to come to Texas. I told you I would have done the horse-drawn carriage tour in Prince Edward Island. Also in Prince Edward Island, y'all, thanks for dropping in, Margot. There is a red dirt beach. And one of the things is that you can tie-dye your own t-shirt. Like you bring a white t-shirt and, you know, you tie it up and you put the red dirt on there, and it stains and it stays and it stains. But that's your souvenir from the red dirt beach. I would have liked to have done that if we had more time. I told you about the hop on and hop off tours, and also more suitcases. I thought we took one big, one medium, and 2 carry-ons to Alaska, which I'm going to go back and watch that video because I think I'm right about that. But I was told we only took 1 suitcase and 2 carry-ons. So that's what we tried to do, and it didn't work out. We tried 1 suitcase and 1 carry-on, and it didn't work. So I am going to next time just say, this is what we're doing. You have a suitcase, I have a suitcase, because I want the big suitcase in case I want to buy stuff. Because I'm going to be honest, I would have bought more things at that vintage shop that I was at. Now, that was an awesome vintage shop, and it would have been all vintage Christmas, and he had a 50% off. I kind of feel like I was shortchanged. I don't know. I've never been on any cruise. I'm afraid my claustrophobia would be off the hook. No. Can you sleep in a hotel room? Because they're bigger than a hotel room. And the cabin that I was in was the size of a hotel room. Our one in Alaska that has that had the balcony with the sliding door, you could leave that door open. Now it's cold, but you could leave it open. There is a lot. I am too, like, elevators, I'm not going to ride a long time. I don't do stairwells really well because I can't gauge how long before I can get out. But I never felt that way. Now the plane, different story. I'm like, let's go. Yes, let's go. You do. You have the airflow is the same. Now, again, if you get a veranda, your door can stay open and it's private. They can't get to you from the outside. But the airflow is the same, centrally heated and air. It's the same as it was the same size as our hotel room when we were in Boston. You have plenty of room. When you're walking around, it feels like you're kind of in a hotel. You don't know that you're really on a ship until you look out or you go out on the decks. But it's so big, Dana. It's so big. It's like a floating city. It's just really big. Now, the bigger the ship, the more the people. That's what makes me nervous. Because I can only control about 1,000. I can't control 4,000. People were like, I don't know if you're going to like being on the first deck. I didn't feel the boat move as much as I did when we were up above. But also, I say it in the video, I liked being low like that. One, we were closer to his daughter because she's on the one below us, which is the crew deck. And 2, when we did disembark in the ports, we just went right out because the gangways were either on our level or her level. So, and I tried to do no elevator because I think the elevator is what caused the inner ear issue mostly. I exasperated it at least. And so I tried not to use the elevator, but I'm not going to lie, them stairs, I say it's 2 flights because you go up one set and up another set. And they were like, no, that's 1 flight. I go, no, that's 1, 2. I get credit for that. I'm not going to go work out in the fitness room, but it is very nice. The fitness rooms were very, very nice. They had yoga classes. They had fitness classes. Um, they have a like 5K walk. It's called a walk for a cause, and Holland America sponsors it right now. I think it's $25. You get a shirt, you get a bracelet, and you do the walk with them. And well, you can do it at your own pace, but you do it at a certain day. And that was for right now. It is all of their lines are doing it for the Ukrainian refugees. So we did it the first time, but I didn't do it this time. I did it when it was really cold. But yeah, both of these trips have been amazing. So for all of the people who have cruised, and thank y'all for staying here with me to rehash and listen to my pros and cons, my wishes and wouldn't haves. But if you've been on a cruise, drop it in the chat right now and tell me where you've been. And if you haven't been on a cruise, tell me where you'd like to go. I mean, I know y'all all want to go to Ketchikan now in Alaska to see Dolly's house, but where's somewhere that you would like to cruise? Yeah, I do think that you would be okay, Dana, and maybe like a 7-day and just go there and back. I really do think that you would be okay. I was worried about seasickness, but I never had any problem with that. And I get car sick really easily. Sherry says the Greek islands. Yes, I will go with you. I will definitely go with you to that. Anybody else got one that they would like to go to? I would like to go to Greece. Now, Lovey's daughter has been to Greece, not on a tour. She went with her grandparents, not on a contract. Now she's on contract with this one, and then her contract is this cruise, and then she does another different ship, whatever, floating vessel. She does that one with and she might be going somewhere else. And then her contract will come up again in October, and she'll be up for negotiation again. I went to Scandinavia and Russia on the celebrity cruise for 2 weeks. Priscilla, how was it? Was it cold? I would think it would be very cold. Been to Mexican Riviera and the Mediterranean. Yeah, the Mediterranean. Bree, Alaska. I enjoyed Alaska. Now I've only been on Holland America, but we went to Juneau. Oh, Lord. We left out of Anchorage. We went to Juneau, Ketchikan, and something else. We had 3 ports. Where did we go? Juneau, Ketchikan, and something else. Y'all, where did I go? I forgot. Greece, Caribbean. I go deep sea fishing all the time, but I'm on the deck. No seasickness ever. I love being on the water. Well, see, it was absolutely wonderful. It was in the summer, so not cold at all. Yes, I will say that the cruise to Alaska in the water, not even the ports, because there's not a whole lot to do on those ports, y'all. Now that Nana's attic is not there, Nana passed away. But there is one other. I did tell Skagway. You show is right, Bree. Skagway. There's a lot to do in the ports. I'm not going to go whale watching. I'm not going to get off a big boat to get on a little boat. I'm all about the city. I want to see, or the town. I want to go into. There was a lot of hiking things that you could do. And I walked around Ketchikan by myself. Skagway, we walked around. I'll have to go watch those again because, yes, Nana, they sold off that. Bless her heart. I am very blessed because I've told this story before, but I got to interview Nana in her shop, and she was a true gem, and she had a good eye. Let me tell you, she had a packed full shop that I should have brought my own suitcase. And when Nana passed away shortly after we got back, it was a couple of months. I had sent them the video because I said, you know, can I have permission? I will send you the video and tell you when it will do whatever. Well, her husband agreed to that because he runs the social media. And I got a message back, and they were thanking me several weeks after Nana had passed and they had had her services for that video, because that is the last thing with her picture and her voice on it. And so they get to watch that. And when they were posting, because I followed them on Facebook, that they were closing, I was this close to catching a flight to Juneau to go with empty suitcases to load up, just to load up. Nita, hey, Nita says, I have been on 2 cruises with Carnival Cruise Line and I'm wanting to go to New England. Yes, so we know that Holland is a Carnival cruise line. I couldn't tell you. Now, this one is not a fancy ship, but I enjoyed it. And I agree with you. The days at sea are the ones at sea, best days. Yeah. And so when we went to Alaska, y'all, we were able, veranda is the way to go. Yeah. Pay the extra, what, $85 to $100, pay the extra money. Dana can have her door open all night. She'll just need extra blankets because, girl, it's cold. But when they have chairs and a table out there, and you literally, we could see when they were turning for the glaciers and stuff, we could see better from our balcony than from the bow of the ship. Because when they made that turn, we're right here. We were right there. And we heard the white thunder and saw the, you know, the glaciers coming down. Lovey saw a few whales, I believe. He was looking for some bear, and we took binoculars. Now, if you're going to go to Alaska, absolutely take binoculars with you. I don't think I really needed binoculars on the New England because, you know, everything was, I mean, literally I could look out and land ho, we could see it. Going under the bridge, that was really cool. The Confederation Bridge, now that's in one of the videos. I didn't, of course, know anything about that, but that connected Prince Edward Island with New Brunswick. And that is, normally all of that is iced in the winter. And so it is the longest bridge over ice. And based on what I saw on the ship looking up, I would not drive that. Now that's something I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna mess with them bridges. One wrong move. And you trap me in a car. Oh my gosh, I'm having anxiety talking about it. You can't trap me in a car. But we went under that bridge, and there for a minute I was like, are we gonna make it? But yes. And the other really cool thing, y'all, is watch your pilots. I showed that in the video too. So the little boat called a pilot boat comes up. The guy who is the pilot of that bay or that marina or that area, he literally hops off of it pulls up like this. And he literally hops off of this onto the big boat. And then when it's time to get off, he hops off, he jumps off of the ship and onto this little boat. I was like, no, sir. No, sir, no, sir, no, sir. So that was really cool. So I got to see a lot of really cool things, y'all. So thanks so much for being here. That is all I have. So again, if you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat. You can leave it in the comments. You can email me or message me. But that is going to wrap up my summer vacation, my 7-day cruise on Holland America Line, the Zaandam ship, to New England and Canada, where I did try those chips. When we went to Subway in Quebec, I got one of each kind of those chips. I ain't gonna lie, they're pretty good, y'all. They were pretty good. And these were like the kettle types of chips. So yeah, we went on a whale watching excursion in Cabo. They are allowed to get closer to the whales than the U.S. excursions. All of us got sprayed by whale. Oh no, blowhole contents. It was amazing yet disgusting. I might be good on this without the whale snot, Dana. I mean, that wasn't on my bucket list. Plus, I'm not trying to be a meal. I was like, you're way too close. I'm cool if I can see them and I'm on this really big ton weight ship. You put me in a little bitty tugboat and he outweighs me by 14 tons. No, no, ma'am. I'll be Jonah and the whale all day long. Y'all, no, ma'am. Thank you so much, Miss Helen. I appreciate that. It was fun. A little bit of work, but a whole lot of fun. Hey, Apple. So we are wrapping up, and unfortunately, it will end my little oh, she's working and lurking. That's the way to do it, girl. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. I don't know if I'll get to go again. I am supposed to have a little closer to home trip coming up. Oh, I would be too. You'd be Jonah in the whale's belly. That's what you would. That's what you would be. I'm supposed to have a little trip coming up, just a little weekend trip, but I'm probably going to vlog that too, a little closer to home, getting to see one of my good friends. That's going to be in August. And I had to laugh, y'all, because I've put out these. Sorry, I've been on since 10 o'clock today. I was on a live sale with Daniel, and then 30 minutes later, I jumped on here. So sorry about that. I normally don't like to do that. But yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh. I'm hoping to be on, to see one of my friends that you know and love from the chats, but we shall see. That's in August. And I was telling you, it was really funny. I had to laugh because, you know, I'm doing these videos and I'm not a vlogger. Girl, I'm a thrifter. I was so excited. I got to show y'all my thrifted outfit. And I never show, you know, my clothes or what I look like, but just wasn't going to do that. But it was on sale and it was a thrift. It was 50% off at the thrift store. But I got an email, you know, YouTuber, if you're ever on YouTube doing anything, oh, I definitely will. It will probably be at Christmas. I'm hoping that my mom is going to come here in July, but it is awfully hot and, you know, there's a lot going on over there for her. So I'm hoping that she'll get to come and spend a couple of days, or at least a week or so with me here in Texas. But it will be in December. I'm going to coordinate it because Dolores is coming over here to Texas in December. But I told her, don't you dare come when I'm gone now. She's going to be here while some of the time I'm gone. But it would be sometime in December. It'll be before Christmas. Oh, girl, I'm a teacher. We don't get to use the bathroom or talk or breathe. No. You don't get to do that. Oh, when you've been a teacher for 30 years, you keep talking because if you give them 5 seconds, they're going to nod off, go to sleep, start playing with something. And yeah, you got to keep going. So yeah. But yeah, I got an email that was like, oh, we'd like you to try out our luggage for a video. And I told those people, I said, y'all, I don't travel. I travel once a year. And this is only because that's what she was doing. So I don't know if we'll get to do another one, but I really hope so. And I hope it will be a different ship and a different cruise port set so that I can share it with y'all. But that's it for today, y'all. Helen, hey, I'm going to take a break. And I'm going to go and have some lunch. It is only 2 o'clock and I haven't eaten yet for the day. So until next time, y'all, don't forget to, most of y'all have already been with me several times. Dolores and I are going to be here Saturday. No, not Saturday, Sunday. Sorry, Dolores. Sunday, 11:30. We're going to be right back here doing some jewelry as we always do on Sundays. So until next time, y'all stay pretty and be sweet. Bye, y'all. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.